When I first joined Philadelphia Trumsa, I embarked on a journey to truly grasp and embrace the core tenets of the Christian faith. Some of the more complex concepts, such as the intricacies of the Trinity doctrine and the reconciliation of Jesus' divinity with his human nature, initially posed a significant challenge for me to fully comprehend. However, I made a conscious and intentional decision to not just accept these concepts, but to deeply explore and understand them, despite my initial struggle. This decision was prompted by a profound recognition of the importance of having a profound and accurate understanding of these principles, especially after overhearing a conversation that highlighted their significance. I recall a time when I overheard a conversation among longtime Christians discussing different denominations that believed in Jesus but had varying confessions. To these individuals, those who did not share the same confession were considered non-Christians and unsaved. This perspective was echoed by several other Christians in the media, indicating that those who believed in Jesus but did not adhere to their specific confession of faith were not considered genuine Christians. This realization prompted me to recognize the significance that some placed on the accurate confession of dogmas and doctrines. As a result, I felt compelled to ensure that I grasped or at least accepted these teachings, as I did not want to be categorized as one of the non-Christians. As I embarked on exploring and understanding these teachings, they gradually became an integral part of my faith. During this process, I realized that my attention on Jesus was starting to wane, and I began to sense a change from before I became involved with Philadelphia Trumsa. Before affiliating with a particular religious denomination, I was among those who professed faith in Jesus without fully grasping certain church teachings. As a child, I never pondered whether Jesus was divine or human, God or a prophet. This indifference persisted through my teenage years and into young adulthood. What mattered most was the unshakable belief that he was real and remained my closest confidant. After aligning with a particular religious denomination, my focus transitioned from entirely centering my life on Jesus to balancing him with the inclusion of church doctrine and tradition. I'm not criticizing any specific denomination in a negative way. While church doctrine and tradition are important, it becomes problematic if they are valued more than Jesus, or if we interpret Jesus and the Bible through them. My intention is to highlight the potential downsides of organized religion based on my own experience. On one hand, it can offer a strong sense of community and a genuine spiritual sanctuary. On the other hand, it has the potential to lead individuals astray without them realizing it. The transformation in my life from the time I first came to Ansgar to the time I departed from Ansgar is a compelling example. Upon my arrival at Ansgar, I was full of trust in the teachings of the Bible and the faith it represented. However, I found myself struggling to fully trust in Jesus, as I was uncertain whether my confession was accurate enough to ensure my salvation. As I completed my studies at Ansgar, my perspective shifted. I came to understand that the specific details of my confession were not as crucial as I had previously believed. Instead, I began to focus on emulating the life and teachings of Jesus. This shift in perspective resulted in a profound deepening of my faith in Jesus, but also a decreased confidence in humanity's capacity to interpret the Bible and derive doctrinal teachings from it accurately. One memorable day in our theology class, our professor initiated a thought-provoking discussion about the essence of the Bible. He passionately articulated that the Bible was not penned with our contemporary audience in mind, but rather for a disparate set of individuals in a distinct epoch. This assertion initially took me and my classmates aback, sparking a sense of incredulity and stimulating a flurry of queries regarding the professor's bold stand. As devout evangelical Christians, we had grown accustomed to the belief that the Bible's teachings were directly intended for Christians living in Norway. However, as we delved into the professor's assertion, we uncovered the profound historical and cultural disparities between the original audience of the Bible and our present-day society. These fundamental disparities spotlighted the challenge of fully comprehending the Bible when approached with the presumption that it was tailored for our current circumstances. This enlightening realization did not diminish the Bible's significance. Rather, it highlighted the criticality of contextual interpretation. This epiphany led me to a deeper understanding. To genuinely grasp the essence of the Bible as a modern Christian in 2024, I recognized the necessity of approaching its teachings with a perspective resembling that of the early Christians. As I pondered this topic, it struck me that there exists a stark contrast between the portrayal of Jesus in the Bible, rooted in Jewish tradition, and the interpretation of Jesus that emerged from Hellenistic influences and the Catholic Church's doctrines long after his time. I came to the realization that the Jesus I had become acquainted with in my formative years as a child closely mirrored the Jewish depiction, while various denominations seemed to align more with the Hellenized interpretation. The Hellenistic Jesus appeared to emphasize complex theological concepts and deep knowledge, whereas the Jewish representation emphasized the emulation of Jesus' life, irrespective of one's religious affiliation or doctrinal comprehension. This revelation led me to renew my trust in the portrayal of Jesus in the Bible, while also causing me to reconsider humanity's capacity to interpret the Bible and establish doctrines from it. What happens when a Pentecostal Christian begins to read the Bible with the perspective of the first Christians? You come to the sudden realization that it is inconsequential whether you possess the correct understanding of Christ's nature, the concept of the Trinity, or other doctrines developed by church leaders centuries after Christ's time. The primary concern of the earliest Christians was clear. Whoever claims to live in Christ must imitate his life. Everything else we can disagree on. Thus, it becomes immaterial whether you perceive Jesus as divine, human, or a prophet, or if you can expound upon the intricacies of the Trinity. What truly matters is living according to the teachings of the Bible and striving to embody Christ's life. This transformative realization led me to shift from practicing Pentecostal Christianity to embracing a lifestyle centered on following Jesus and endeavoring to replicate his ways, a journey aptly characterized as Messianic Christianity.